good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located. And thanks for joining to our session. So today we are talking about how 2020 showed the importance of Agile ops teams in traditional B2B enterprise. But who are we and what are we going to talk about today? What is our sandbox like? So my name is Adele Heikkilä. I'm a digital marketing specialist in a company called Wärtsilä. So mainly I'm working within the digital marketing campaigns, personalization, SEO, ABM, just to name a few. On my free time, you find me from the sports tracks. I'm a sports person. Today I'm not alone. I have my dear colleague and my supervisor Jaime today with me. So may you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Adele. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our session at ParDreamin 2020. Such a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Jaime Lopez, and I'm the General Manager for Marketing Operations and Digital Acceleration at Wärtsilä. When not presenting or working, you might find me from a rugby pitch with my local club, Helsinki Rugby Club.
All right, thanks a lot. So I mentioned where we are from or where we are working at. So we're from a company called Wärtsilä. I know it's hard to pronounce, but it's one of the biggest companies actually. So Wärtsilä is a smart technology and lifecycle solution provider for both marine and energy. We both actually work for marine, so telling that about shortly. So whenever you're, for instance, ordering a package from Amazon, for instance, 90% of the trade is still done by vessels. And 50% of that, Wärtsilä is providing the services, and 30% of the engines in the vessels are also most probably made by Wärtsilä. Other facts and figures, so we're having 19,000 personnel and working within 140 nationalities in over 200 locations. So as we tend to say, Wärtsilä is maybe one of the most unknown brands, but yet rather significant. Why are we here and what are we talking about today? So what I want to bring up today is how to make your team, your organization survive from any challenges coming from either internal or external challenges. And I want to bring out our story, what we had in 2020. So at this point of time and this point of this seminar, you might have been already, you might know the concept of COVID-19. And I think that hit us all quite hardly in individual and also like in overall level. Well, that wasn't the only thing, but let's start from that. Well, we are working in marine industry and cruises are not maybe that popular at this point of time, but we had few layoffs. So in practice, that meant that we have less manpower. At the same time, we are a very ambitious team, or I don't know what my supervisor says, but we wanted to really achieve our targets, what we had set in the beginning of the year. I'm really happy to say that we did that. So I'm really proud of our team, but that demanded quite a lot. We wanted to achieve those. Then at the same time, as we all marketers here know, everything went pretty much digital. So webinars, all the events turned to digital events like this event that we are today in. Also, all the customer touch points went digital. So a little more changes, and quickly have to adapt new things, new tools, new processes in place. Well, how about the internal challenges despite the layoff part and manpower part? Well, Wärtsilä worked in marine and energy, but suddenly we had 4 businesses, a huge organizational change. As a marketer or whatever department you are working at, you know that it means a lot of adjustments, like who are you contacting at, what are the processes like, where you place your data, all these kind of tools or things come within the organizational change. Okay, so what are our how we are going to survive within these kind of massive changes? And are these the only changes that are going to come? No. We here believe that you have to be prepared to face these kind of challenges also in the future. And this is why we want to tell you how we solve this. So today we're going to talk how to make a team that survive from these challenges, Jaime is going to talk about that. And then I continue with talking about what kind of technologies and processes you have to put in place. So Jaime, maybe you start within the team.
Sure thing. Thank you very much, Adele. All right. So as Adele introduced, I'm the manager of a fantastic team of marketing operations professionals here at Wärtsilä. And the foundational principle of my team is fairness. There is no way around it. Our decisions have to be guided, have to be orchestrated in a sense of fairness that permeates everything we do. When everything is fair and when we have a high degree of trust, we can also afford ourselves an enormous degree of autonomy. We focus on what we deliver and way less than we did. We focus on when do we do it, how do we do it, from where. So everybody has the freedom to work on their own hours, on their own location, as long as the targets are accomplished, which meant that the transition to working from home for us was quite natural, quite easy, not traumatic at all. Our industry turned upside down, our team didn't. That also comes from the fact that the people in my team need to have mastery of the basic tools we use. For us, it's going to be ParDreamin, Salesforce, GoToWebinar, and Sitefinity CMS. Anybody who joins the team needs to learn to kick ass in those 4 tools, regardless of their role, which means that at any point when there's a need, somebody can cover it and somebody can understand what the others are doing and be able to step in when needed. A sense of purpose, extremely important as well. We have a crazy ambition level, and that ambition is to be the best data-driven marketing team in B2B, period. With that purpose, with that intrinsic motivation, we can drive our team and our people to achieve much more than we ever thought was possible. Adele will give you really good examples of this, but to tease you a bit, we managed to turn from doing 1 webinar a quarter to doing 15 to 20 webinars a quarter, and our numbers are just growing. How do we do that? One key aspect of this is to productize and procedurize everything you can. So for example, going back to our webinars, when a content owner or a sales owner wants to organize a webinar, how it is requested, it's productized and standardized, the delivery times, the SLAs, the input we need, the content, how many days in advance do we train the people, the engagements, everything is very much productized and made as with a cookie cutter. But it's not done for the sake of it. It's done so that the rock stars that I have around me in my team can free up their mental space and their effort to shine in things that they're really passionate about and to deliver those crazy ambitious big projects that will get us to be actually the best team in B2B. So productize everything, make it cookie cutter, but let time for your rock stars to shine. And what kind of rock stars do we have? For me, it's very, very important to do something that my friend Carlos Dori, also an amazing marketing technologist, calls to Tetris your MarTech team. So we've chosen to surround ourselves with people who are very diverse in every aspect of the word. Competence-wise, we actively search for people who do not look like us. We search for people who can tell us what we're doing wrong, what we've been missing. So we have, for example, some people who have more of a background of a full-stack marketer like myself. We have people who have a background in development, like Alexandra, execution specialists who are extremely good and efficient with ParDreamin and Sitefinity, like Saskia, like Kati, like Adele. We have people with performance analysis background, like Sujata, and we have still the mission of having a more overarching MA and CRM architecture. So cherish diversity, hire for it, because great things come from it. Back to you, Adele.
Thank you, and thanks for introducing our team. So to move a little bit from the team to the tech, as we know, the brilliant team need to be able to have also a brilliant platform, brilliant processes, brilliant technologies to work with. Either or, it doesn't work. If you have a great team, but the processes and technologies are not there, they might not achieve those ambitious targets they have set to themselves. Or as Jaime told, they might not be able to develop themselves in the areas they're passionate about it. On the other hand, if you have great technologies, but the team is not maybe there quite yet, or they're all very same type, it doesn't maybe move from the tools, or you don't get even the full use of the tools that you could. Well, as Jaime told, we have these 3 steps in place, or aspects. But the main thing that made our team to survive from these internal and external challenges, and the coming internal and external challenges that for sure will come from us and, well, to also to your team, is solid groundwork. So you have to start planning your processes, your team structures today. Well, let me tell you, like, if you start today and something happens in 3 weeks' time, well, it might be hard to adapt. It's possible. But if that happens in half a year time, you are more able to create the adaptability in your team. So first, have the ground level skills, as Jaime explained. So every member of your team knows what they are doing, what the other team members' abilities are, and how to use the basic tools, and why we have those tools, what they are used for. Also, have every processes in place, and besides the processes, know what tools are connected to those processes. I'm going to tell you about that in the next slide. And third, believe in autonomy, in people and in processes and in technologies. So believe that the people you have hired know what they are doing, and you trust them so that you give the power for them to control their own work. So moving towards the tools. So as said, consistent way of working and structuring creates efficiency and creates also an ability to enable fastly to new processes. But also, for instance, if we think we got a new team member and, well, we're all working virtually, but it might be really hard to jump in these times. He was able to jump really easily, and at least, well, he's a genius, but also really fast in a sense that we had very clear processes and documentations, how everything works. And of course, we were there to support him. But about the consistent way of working and how we do that, I'll give you an example of a webinar. When a manager decides to have a webinar, he fills a form to us, or a requirement, like what he or she wants and what time. Well, we call him or her, set a meeting, and discuss what is required, what is needed, what is the process for arranging a webinar, so that her or his expectations are there and they are set. Well, then starts the actual process. We have a process of when, like if you have a webinar day, you know what tasks need to be done before, what marketing assets you need to be done before, depending on what marketing assets you want, and what happens after the actual webinar, and what happens during the webinar. It's a rather complex process, even if it looks very simple, and that's professionality, I would say. So, process is in place, and that the whole process is documented. And now, a little slight notification here. When I say standardized processes, it doesn't mean that we are doing the exact same every time. As said, our team is ambitious. We want to develop every time something new. But if you have the basic process and the basic brick on place, you are able to deliver on top of that. You don't have to use the energy in developing the wheel over and over again, but you can develop on top of that. Use the energy for developing on top of that what you have learned that works the best. That was about the standardized processes. Next, have your structures and naming conventions in place. Well, we use Salesforce and we use ParDreamin mainly for our marketing activities. We have all the structures in place in the sense that you can see from one side what kind of marketing assets we have in this campaign, what are they connected to, and what they are consisting. And we have the same naming convention throughout the tools. Like for instance, when we are thinking about the webinar, we have the Salesforce, we have the ParDreamin, we have the GoToWebinar. You can easily see what parts are connected together, what parts they are having in. And the reason why we have this is that you can go back, see what has been happening there, and go to the future. You can compare the data. Also, as we are working in all continents of the world, and sometimes it might happen that the marketing manager comes like, hey, I want to know how many registrants I have. And she might ask from another team member who is not responsible of the webinar. The other person can answer like, hey, I can see from our structure immediately, like, okay, this is the year, this is the business, this is the content, this is the business line. All right, and here is this campaign, and can I easily see, because I know exactly already from the naming convention what is included in this and what are the kind of like the activities inside this campaign, and I can report it, even if it wasn't my campaign. All right, and then thirdly, we are able to create efficiency and fast enablement through data visualization. I don't know if you had time to look Jaime's presentation yesterday, but he was talking about also or mentioning our measurability and the great development that we've achieved. And our measurability department has done an amazing job in developing the data visualization and reporting this year, and very, very fast. And I think one of the great kind of like contributions that execution and development has been able to provide for measurability is that we have consistency in what we do. Because then you can create reporting, create visualization, you can compare it from the start of the year to the end of the year because it's comparable. So think the processes in place and choose the technologies to support that. Then about the automation and how we create transparency. As Jaime told, in our team, we value transparency and trust over everything. And it is between the people, which is crucial, so that people feel safe to share their ideas, come back with their possible failures or development parts or something that they are interested in and want to develop. But also, as we are working globally, it is important to create transparency in tools. The other reason why it's important is that the teams might change, but you want to know what happened 2 years ago or what happened today when you're looking it back. How we create transparency in our tools. We create it within 3 different tools. And notice, I said plural. So we have different tools for different purposes. And that's an asset. So we use ParDreamin Salesforce. And in order to create transparency, we have, of course, the naming convention structuring, as I told, and I'm not going to repeat it this time, but remember, it's crucial. We have reporting in place. We have the one visibility where we see what's going on. We know how the naming convention goes, and all these campaigns are connected throughout all the tools we have. All the naming convention is similar in all tools. Secondly, we use Asana, which is a project management tool. And I think this is a great way of working because we share basically everything that we have and all the processes are automated. So in the project management tool, it's shared within the whole marketing team, not only digital marketing ops team. We share the yearly calendar, we have their budget, we have each tasks which can be shared between people. And we have webinar calendars, ABM calendars, we have email campaign calendars, and not only calendars is cool, but we have the contents inside. We have who are responsible for that, when it promised to deliver, is it connected to some other campaign, is it, what is the target audience? And this is the way how we avoid duplicates, we avoid ad hocs. I know everybody are like, yeah, we know what ad hocs means. We don't want to get those emails in the middle of the night that, hey, can you do this tomorrow, by tomorrow morning, maybe? And that is not reported anywhere. Because here we can also control what is our workload, how is it shared. So that's a way to create transparency and equality and avoid duplicates. Then themes. That is Microsoft Teams is now many of us maybe know it after Skype. It's for discussing, but it's also a storage for sharing information in our team. So we have folders there where we store our data, our training material, everything. But also as we are more and more coming to collaborate with other departments, such as finance, C&B, businesses, it's an important place to connect with those other departments. And of course, if we are having a bigger campaign, it might be actually easier to have the project there in the teams. So short and short, to kind of like conclude what you should do with your team and technologies, we have 3 points. So as I told, start today. It's all about consistency in both parts, in teams and in technologies. And respect the structure in your technologies. So it might feel like, okay, this is a boring thing. We know this, like structures. Everybody talk about naming conventions and structures. But there is a reason why people talk about those. Structure what you're doing. And then give autonomy and give responsibility to your team. Because that is the way how you create the trust, transparency, but also the feeling of a person that he or she is actually able to control over her work. And within these times, when you are actually, well, you are not able to go to the office maybe, it's actually really relieving that you have your own habits already in place. And finally, just for teams and for also for the tools, raise the difference. You need different kind of people to your team from different cultures, because we all, like, if we are different people doing together, we learn from each other's weaknesses and all the best parts. So I think that's pretty much what we want to tell you today. If you have any questions, feel free to fill into the chat. But otherwise, thanks from my side, and I'm from the from this side.
Thank you very much.
Let's see if you have any questions coming.
All right.
If you have anything, just keep it coming.
Right. Somebody says great session. Good
Thanks for the feedback. This is a great topic to talk about. Don't say anything else.
Yeah, it feels really nice to be able to discuss also about the software aspect of how, not just what we do, but how we do it and why we do it in a way.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
That's the layer that is beneath the surface that normally you don't get to see.
Yeah, exactly. We need to remember also the people behind the tools.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tools don't do anything themselves. It's about the people, yeah. And I'm quite proud of how we do things and the effect on our people. That you accomplish great stuff and you are happy while doing it. All right. Yeah. Well, then, if there are any further questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can find us on social media or LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think we are both with our names there, so easy to find. Somebody actually said about the cool background. I have to say, these are actually all the boats where we have our engines or our service. So only, I think, I don't know how you see the small picture. I think there is Europe behind me. So very interesting. We are all over.
Those orange points are those vessels. Actually, this is real data that have our equipment or our engines.
Yeah, we use the data for this kind of exciting stuff also.
Yeah. Hey, there are actually substance questions. Process part. How much time and energy does it take to put those in place?
Well, as I said, it's consistency. So you start with the first draft of the process, and then you fix it. You may know a word of best practices. So it's good to have the first version in place as soon as possible. Then start trying. What is the best way?
Okay, Agile.
Agile, yes, that was in the headline.
And I think that from my point of view, what's the most important part is to break with the tradition. So the way things worked before this, for the process, was that anybody could request anything from us with or without info at any time.
All those emails.
Yeah. So we kind of have to get people to stop thinking that this is a work of art we do every time, but rather an organized production process.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Taking emphasis on structures next level. I've always felt it is so important. Absolutely agree with you.
Yes, definitely. Remember that the structures are not like just a cool thing to have, a pretty page storage in your program, but it actually creates more value when they're on place. Like as I told, like if you have to quickly, like you have a new hire, you want him to adapt quickly. Well, this helps a lot when you can see from one side, like, oh, we are like clear, like things what we're doing here, and you don't have to start explaining like, hey, yeah, we actually, yeah, this is a bit strange, this is here and here, that is there. Like you don't have to use time for that kind of like special cases for teaching those.
Cool. All right, I think we've reached the end of our 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody, for
Thank
joining
you.
the session. We'll be happy to connect with you. Big thanks to everybody from our team as well.
Yeah.
Thanks to the organizers.
Thanks a lot.
We hope you have a fantastic rest of your ParDreamin experience.
Yes.